2015 to 2020, there were at least 2,070 unintentional shootings by children. 765 of those children died. A consumer product that causes this much harm to the public would normally be subject to a recall. But federal law prohibits the Consumer Product Safety Commission, the agency responsible for protecting the public from dangerous products, from regulating guns. This is absurd. After one child died using a Peloton treadmill last year, the Consumer Product Safety Commission intervened and recalled the product. But when hundreds of children die using guns, there is no federal response. There is no federal safety standard for guns. Even though 40,000 Americans hurt or kill themselves or other people in hundreds of accidents every year. Instead of regulating guns like any other consumer product, federal law protects gun manufacturers. A teenager can watch a video online and learn how to modify a rifle to make it more deadly. And the gun industry avoids any liability if that teenager uses that modified rifle to fire repeatedly and rapidly at innocent people, even though their products could be designed to prevent unsafe modifications.
100%. Katie Porter makes all the sense in the world there, and I love that she's focusing on this from the point of view of these are products that the right wants to say we're trying to infringe too much on them. No, what she is pointing out is they, among all products in the country of every sort that you can imagine, have this special carve out where there can be no expectations that they're anything other than deadly at the drop of a pin. At any given second, they are deadly. We did a story on the show just yesterday where a 2-year-old came across a handgun and accidentally shot and killed his father. A 2-year-old could pull back the trigger on that gun. That is a choice that was made by the gun manufacturers. You think it's not impossible to make it require more force or to make it impossible? If you can make pill bottles that 2-year-olds can't open, you think they couldn't secure a trigger in the same way? No, they've chosen not to, and you can't sue them based on the fact that their weapons are so deficient that 2-year-olds can operate them because of this special carve out. Now she is going to give a specific example of how this works in practice and what comes as a result of it in this video.
I want to give an example. In 2001, a 13-year-old boy named Billy accidentally shot his father's handgun and killed his friend Josh. Billy mistakenly thought the gun was unloaded because he had removed the gun's magazine. Josh's family sued the gun manufacturer for failing to warn Billy and other consumers that their product could be fired without a magazine. It's a simple case. It should have been decided by a jury, as is provided under the Constitution. Instead, because of the gun industry's immunity, the gun manufacturer was able to dismiss the case without a trial. If a pharmaceutical company failed to warn customers about the known risks of one of their drugs, they could face thousands of lawsuits. But we allow the gun industry to sell weapons without taking any precautions to protect children and families from fatal accidents.
This is what they can get away with. Very reasonable things to assume about a gun are not true and don't have to be true. And if it results in someone's death, they can't be held liable for it, Jordan. It's an amazing system that they've set up in their defense.
I can't believe this is even a structure that we willingly live within, because no other country has this. And you look at some of the other things that have been banned. She's talking from a consumer safety standpoint, which I think is a good argument because it gets away from the Second Amendment framework. And you just think about it as a consumer product, which it is, how different it is than any other product. The treadmill I thought was a really good example. You know, the most famous example is lawn darts. People love to point out how lawn darts were immediately banned, metal tipped. And some of the other things I was looking up recently are just like almost kind of funny. A Cabbage Patch Kid doll that would like eat fake food. It got recalled because it was, eating people's hair. The Kinder Surprise eggs, kids were choking on those. But also look at like furniture that tips over. And one of the things I think recently that has been might appeal to you and your audience. Do you remember the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas game?
I do.
They had a meltdown over that because of the hot coffee mode.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never watched that.
But like, it was a game meant for adults, and they were horrified that a kid could access some like really low rendered virtual sex scene in the game. And immediately swift action as soon as they found out that was in the game, because potentially it could harm kids in some way. But kids can get mutilated by a weapon of war and suddenly their hands are tied. They don't care. And that it just boggles my mind that we willingly live in this society.
Yeah, and look, you're right to point out all of the times, as Katie Porter is, where we discovered that something could be dangerous and quickly regulated the whole thing. Recalls of millions of cars or millions of strollers because something has been shown to be dangerous. But let's talk about things that just aren't. I'm actually not even sure of the laws in the state that you're in. Are you allowed to buy marijuana?
I don't smoke. I think so.
Okay. Well, many of the people watching in states across America can't. There didn't have to be any leap into action because people died from marijuana. There was no death. You can't do it. It's inherently too dangerous to smoke marijuana. It's totally banned in many states. That is inherently too dangerous. But AR-15s are inherently so important that it doesn't matter that they're dangerous. You can't even regulate them. They're not even trying to ban them in the House. They're literally just saying you should be 21. When you turn 21 in these states, you can't smoke marijuana. You could be a 60-year-old Vietnam vet who was firing machine guns off the side of a helicopter. You're not responsible enough in the eyes of these Republicans to be able to smoke a particular plant. There are other plants that you're allowed to smoke. You can't smoke this plant because it's inherently too dangerous. We live in an insane country ruled by madmen and women. That's what we do here in America.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.